Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to KUMB TV's live Europa League quarter-final and semi-final draw. Odd to be here in the morning, isn't it? Usually here late in the evening or late afternoon. But anyway, here we are. I'm joined this morning by my erstwhile colleagues, Rio. Good to see you, Rio.
Good morning, afternoon, whatever it is.
Or afternoon. Both chaps not looking particularly fresh-faced, are we, gentlemen? Having spent an evening out on the tiles last night in Stratford. Rio, did you get an awful lot of sleep last night once you got in after that momentous occasion?
About 3 hours. Got in half past midnight for one reason or another. Not alcohol-related for a change with me. But, yeah, I just couldn't drop off. I was absolutely buzzing still. My youngest was with me. He was the same. He was being a bit noisy and over emotional. But yeah, what a night. I've had about 3 hours sleep. But yeah, let's crack on with this.
Yeah. Gnome, how about yourself? Did you get much kip last night, or was it a sort of a night of celebrations in the Gnome household?
To be honest, I didn't have a single alcoholic drink all evening.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. No, I got home about midnight, and it's been a bit of a week one way or another, and I was kind of really awake and tired at the same time. It was an odd combination. So I sort of stayed up for about an hour or two.
Yeah.
And sort of like taking in as much footage as I can of the evening, and then I guess I ran out of steam about 1:30 or something, and just keeled over. But yeah, it wasn't a bad night, was it?
No, we've had worse, haven't we? Talking of footage, as you were, what was the favourite bit of footage for you? I've got to start us off, I guess, with Pablo Fornell's rendition of West Ham are Massive. I'm sure you guys have seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been potentially going to be one of my kids' ringtones at some point, I think.
Yeah, it was amazing. I've just had it on repeat all morning and last night, just watching it over and over again. I was just in absolute stitches watching it. No, anything stood out for you?
Well, yeah, there was that, of course, which was he's got a singing voice so bad that he could quite easily make it to the finals of the X Factor. Yeah, there was that, and it was just I was just looking at, when I say footage, I was looking at a lot of the game footage, if you like, and just sort of like reliving that. And I forwarded the Fornell's aria, for want of a better phrase, onto me, onto the beautiful girlfriend who said, "Oh, bless him." I think she was quite happy because although she's not heavily into her football, since we've been together 5 years now, bless her.
Good Lord.
Yeah. She hasn't rumbled me yet, but no, since she since obviously she hooked up with me and everything, that she's taken a bit more of an interest. Obviously, I think she needs to know what sort of foul mood I'm going to be in most evenings, but she has the occasional flutter.
All right.
Her go-to bet for opening goal scorer is Souček. So
all right.
Yeah, so I think she's probably working at the moment, so she's not watching this, but I think I may have indicated at some stage when that goal went in that I'd quite happily leave her for Souček, and I'm completely 100% straight. But when that goal in, I think I sent her a message that simply said in block capitals, "Souček, you beauty."
Yeah, what a. I mean, talking about that goal, Rio, as Gnome was. I mean, came at the perfect time, didn't it, for us last night? You know, it was Seville had weathered that early storm, and you kind of felt if we went into half time still at 0-0, the pressure would have been on West Ham. But as it was, getting that goal when we did just before half time, it really turned the tables, didn't it? And meant that the onus was on them to do something. And really, it was just like a question of patience for us, wasn't it, to sort of see it through?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't sense any kind of frustration from the crowd, which was biggest positive. but you could see a little bit of frustration on the pitch because we carved out a couple of chances.
Yeah.
You just thought, is it going to be one of them nights? And the players' body language was more affected than the actual supporters.
Yeah.
But yeah, perfect timing, fantastic header. And Mikel Antonio gets a lot of criticism sometimes for his decision making in supplying his teammates and creating chances. But that was a fantastic cross for them. The goal.
Well, I mean, the whole thing, Gnome was remarkable, really, wasn't it? When you look at that, the fact that even up until 24 hours before the kickoff, David Moyes wasn't sure whether Antonio would be able to make it.
Yeah.
Same with Aaron Cresswell. And yet they both played 2 hours of football and the highest intensity.
Having said that, I mean, yeah, all the noises coming out were perhaps slightly more optimistic for Cresswell than they were for Antonio. But
yeah,
I think it didn't give the game away, but I think the tactic was highlighted a few days previously by David Moyes when he was asked about those two. And I think it might have been just after the game when they came off. And he was asked about those two and he said, well, I don't know. But he said, even if I did, I wouldn't be telling you and giving Sevilla the heads up. So I think that may have had something to do with it. Certainly they didn't disavow anybody of the of the possibility that Antonio in particular wouldn't be fit. So
and of course, sorry, buddy, carry on.
Just the cards close to his chest.
Yeah, very much so. We of course we might have Jared Bowen back for the next two legs. We'll move on to those in just a moment. The quarterfinal ties, which are the 7th and the 14th of April. So 2 or 3 weeks for Jared Bowen to recover and hopefully for everyone else to stay fit. There has been
my birthday, the first one.
Is it 7th of April? Oh well, early, the 8th. Oh, let's hope we win that. There could be a trip, a memorable trip abroad, perhaps. Then we'll
I won't be going abroad.
Definitely not going to go.
No, not for if it's the first leg. I mean, it's unlikely for the second, but stuff with me folks, and also losing for an operation for a few days there. So,
okay, all right.
I'm playing nursemaid to a lot of people.
All right. Well, we'll carry the flag for you on this occasion. Yeah. There has been a draw in European competition already today. Of course, the Champions League draw last day. We'll touch on it briefly. It's not very relevant to West Ham United, Rio, but we'll have a quick look at the fixtures anyway. Benfica versus Liverpool. Villarreal versus Bayern Munich, Man City against Atletico, of course, not their nearest and dearest out on Tuesday night, I think it was, or was it Wednesday? Chelsea versus Real Madrid. Some big games there.
Yeah, I was hoping.
Sorry, guys, I'm not disappearing. I'm back to that.
No problem. See you in a bit.
No, I was hoping Villarreal probably the biggest shock of the whole competition in the Champions League so far, really. I was hoping they'd get a more favourable draw, but there's some good ties there. They're just getting warmed up for us next year, basically, aren't they? It's just it's just an audition kind of process at the moment.
Yeah. Shall we have a quick look through those and just see what we fancy? Rio, first of all, Benfica, Liverpool.
Yeah, well, you've got to fancy Liverpool, haven't you? Well, no. I don't fancy Liverpool at all in any kind of respect, but you've got to expect Liverpool to win. Let's put it that way.
Perfectly said. No, Benfica, Liverpool for you?
Yeah, they'll have enough diving and usual sort of dark arts to, So if things aren't going their way, they'll get their way one way or another. They always do, and that sort of thing. Okay. Liverpool will win that.
All right, I'm with you guys. That's a straight 3 for Liverpool. Villarreal versus Bayern. Maria, you touched on Villarreal. Of course, beat Juventus 3-0, didn't they? The other night. Incredible result. Fantastic
result in the week for them. But now, for me, Bayern are still the favourites for this competition. Yeah, they just look incredibly strong. They're doing the usual thing in the German Bundesliga. Not even having to break into sweat. That's the thing with the English competition. Liverpool and Manchester City going to be pushing each other all the way to the end of the season. That might take its toll in Europe. So for me, Bayern the favourites and Villarreal, the weakest club left in that competition so far. So, it's got to be Bayern.
Germans for you. Gnome, how about yourself?
Yeah, agree with Rio. Bayern just excuse me, likely to be too strong. They stick past seven past Salzburg, wasn't it? I think in the previous round of second leg. So it shows that. I mean, Salzburg obviously one of the weaker teams left in the competition at that point, and it shows that Bayern don't sort of get complacent against lesser teams. So that was a demolition job.
Yeah, all right.
Shame, I like Salzburg as a place. We had some nice time there.
Yes, very, very much so. But Bayern for me as well. So that's a clean sweep. So very quickly, just running through the other two. Man City versus Atletico Rio should be a tough one there. Simeone versus Guardiola.
Yeah, a battle of the minds there. I mean, again, you've got to fancy City really. Atletico have not had the greatest of seasons domestically, but they grind out results, don't they? And any team that beats Manchester United gets a little bit of kudos for me. So I think it's been a really tough tie over 2 legs, but you've got to think City's class will shine through eventually.
All right, City for Rio, no?
Yeah, I think I'd be a bit closer than Rio's suggesting, because Atletico seem to, whilst they're as I say, as Rio said, not having the greatest of seasons, but they seem to have something extra about them in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
It might be tough for City, but I think they'll do it. I think they should have enough, but it might not be as easy as they think.
Okay, so you guys are going to go. I'm going to go for Atletico. I think the masters of the dark arts, as Gnome has called them. I mean, we saw that the other night. I saw a statistic that said something like for the last half hour of that game at Old Trafford, the ball was in play for 11 minutes, which was just ridiculous given the amount of rolling around the dice. I've got a feeling they might just be too much for City, and Simeone might come up chance. But anyway, last one: Chelsea, Real Madrid, Rio.
Right, the biggest thing for me here is how are Chelsea going to get to the away leg? Because they've got to use the Oyster card to get to any kind of London game at the moment.
Yeah.
So getting to Madrid is going to be a bit more problematic. But no, it's going to be a tough game. I sincerely hope that Real prevail. Chelsea, who none of us like, none of us ever have liked, none of us ever will like, haven't covered themselves in glory over the last couple of weeks since this whole horrific incident in the Ukraine.
Yeah.
So I'm talking with heart rather than head here, but I'm going for Real.
Okay. All right. Real for Rio. No, Chelsea or Real Madrid?
Tough one, this, because heart obviously wants Real Madrid. It just got a suspicion that Chelsea might sort of this sort of team spirit in adversity. That's the word I'm looking for. Sometimes sort of does teams a lot of good. I mean, the players are talking about paying their own travel costs for away games, which it just reminded me of the old days when I used to play. So the old still going Southern Amateur League, and having to chip in your subs and every week, and it was you didn't have to pay any subs in a week if you took the kit for the laundry run. So you got free beer for that night.
Yeah, I wonder. We can't quite see Kai Havertz taking the kit home, but you never know. It's tough times down at the bridge. But who do you fancy out of those two? Who do you reckon?
I'm just going to plump for Real Madrid. I think.
All right.
I think at some stage the whole thing's going to end up sort of really hitting Chelsea a bit. Okay. I don't know what the latest is. I think today's the deadline for people to put in a bid for the club.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And I don't know. There's various. Noticeably, it's all sort of hedge funds and investment management sort of thing. Yeah. It just shows how long ago that ceased to be a football club and became a sort of global business.
Yes. Yeah,
I've got fiver knocking about if they want that.
too much.
Yeah. I did offer the £2.50 preview Percy normally picks on a bet, but but they weren't prepared to give me the change in sterling rather than rubles. Yeah.
Well, look, I'm going to go for Chelsea. So our final four, according to this, is Liverpool and Manchester City from England, Real Madrid from Spain, and Bayern Munich from Germany. So that would certainly set it up for a couple of glamour ties in the last round of the Champions League. But anyway, enough of that nonsense. We're going to talk about the only European competition that counts now, and we're very, very close to the draw for the last 8 and the last 4. Of course, 2 draws taking place this morning, the quarterfinal and the semi-final draw. So all of those of you who are looking to book your flights can get a bit of a heads up this morning if all goes well. 8 teams left in the competition. They are as follows. I've lost my link. I'll go through these in order of UEFA ranking. So at the top of the pile, we've got Barcelona, ranked 7th in Europe by UEFA. Next up are Leipzig of Germany, ranked 18th, followed by Lyon of France, ranked number 19. Atalanta of Italy, 4th highest ranking team left in the competition at 25th in Europe, followed by Eintracht Frankfurt, ranked 32. Of course, we have a bit of history where they're concerned in the past, and actually a bit of history rather more recently, given what occurred in Seville last week, but more of that later, perhaps if we get time. Rangers of Scotland are next, 6th lowest ranked or 6th highest ranked team left in the competition, 38th in Europe, and then ranked at 39, Portuguese side Braga. Who have I forgotten, gentlemen? Who's left? Oh, West Ham United. Lowest ranked team left in the competition at 75, ranked 75 in Europe. Yeah. Doesn't mean anything though, Gnome, does it? These rankings now at this stage?
Well, I mean, those rankings are based on your performance in Europe over the last, I don't know what the period is. And obviously, you know, Barcelona have got Champions League wins and things like that under their belt, and regularly qualified. But I mean, do you seriously rank us below? I mean, Rangers have got their, even then it's a modest ranking, but they get their ranking because it's virtually impossible for them not to qualify for Europe every year.
Yeah, I think it does take into account the coefficients slightly, the league position as well, doesn't it? It's not obviously not as much as the European competition, but as you say, they're in Europe every year because there is no competition.
It can't not be. It's just a matter of it's a matter of what competition they start in before being knocked out and going into the lower one, isn't it? So
indeed.
So I wouldn't read too much into those rankings because I think pretty much on current form, with their current form ranking, I suspect it would be slightly different, particularly in European matches.
Absolutely. Yeah, no question. Interestingly, only one of the 8 teams left in the competition has won it before. Rio, want to take a stab in the dark at who that might be? If you haven't got the news story I'm looking at in front of you, that is.
It caught me a bit unawares there because I'm actually working in the background here. So I'll have a guess. I'm going to say Barca.
Okay. Rio. No, who do you think?
Didn't Eintracht win it a few years back?
Yes, they did. Bang on. Eintracht Frankfurt, the only team left to win it. They won it in 1980.
UEFA Cup.
Yeah, when it was the UEFA Cup back in 1980, 4 years after we knocked them out of the semi-finals of the Cup Winners' Cup. Barcelona, Rio.
I think back in the very formative days of what this competition ended up at, and it started off. It was a bizarre competition, which was called It started off and it was called the Intercities Fairs Cup.
Yeah,
and it was a cup that. It was the entry was limited to cities that had trade fairs, believe it or not.
Amazing.
So in the very I think Barcelona now the English entry in the early days was a London combined 11, believe it or not.
Right.
And I think Barcelona may have won one of the early ones, beating that London.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to look that up in a second. But that was in the 50s.
So was this the competition that morphed into the Fairs Cup that Newcastle won?
Yeah, it then just became the Fairs Cup, which again we had. There was a bizarre rule in that apart from the winners who were allowed to defend the trophy, there was only one club from a city that was allowed in, they scrapped the requirement for it to have a trade fair, but it was still one club, one city, which was a bit bizarre. Because I remember in about 72, 73, I think we finished about sixth.
Yeah.
And because Tottenham finished fifth or something stupid like, they won the League Cup. And because of that, we didn't qualify. And it was the year before Newcastle won it, because Newcastle actually qualified for the Fairs Cup by virtue of the fact that going above them, the teams above them couldn't go into it because there were teams above them from the same town or city.
Right.
Newcastle qualified for it, having finished 11th.
Right.
They went as the late preview Alistair, my mate Craigsy, was always fond of reminding me about the fact they beat Wispes Dojo of Hungary, and it's still one of I've got a lovely photograph of Craigsy in a dinner suit with the old Fairs Cup, and I always just used to clip me around the ear from when I inquired how come it was in colour and not black and white.
Well, there you go, bit of history, folks. Of you going back to the pedigree of the other 7 teams, as we said, Eintracht Frankfurt, the only team that left in the competition to have won it previously. They won it in 1980. Barcelona, Rio, semi-finalists 4 times: 76, 78, 96, and 2001. Of course, since then they've been pretty much involved in the Champions League or the European Cup, haven't they, every year? But no, never won it. Interestingly enough. Leipzig, Red Bull Leipzig, reached the quarterfinals in 2018. Prior to their recent dalliance with the Champions League. Lyon, semi-finalists in 2017. Atalanta, quarterfinalists 31 years ago in 1991. Of course, Atalanta, another side that have been playing more recently in the Champions League. Rangers, runners-up 50 years ago. Sorry, not 50 years ago. 14 years ago, 2008. Beaten in the final 2-0 by Zenit St. Petersburg. They did. The reason I was referring to 50 years is because that's the last time they won and the only time they won a major European trophy, winning the Cup Winners' Cup in 1972. So no doubt the Rangers fans will be telling us that it's their name on the cup for that reason. No?
Yeah, I have more updates on the pedigree of this trophy.
Right.
It was supposed to, as I say, coincide with trade fairs. And the first competition started in 1955.
Okay.
And because it was supposed to coincide with these trade fairs, it took them 3 years to complete.
Right.
And if the final was the cities that entered teams were Barcelona, Basel, Birmingham, Copenhagen, Frankfurt, Vienna, Cologne, Lausanne, Leipzig, London, Milan, and Zagreb. And say Barcelona won it. Technically, it wasn't. It was a Barcelona 11, comprised of players from the city of Barcelona. Having said that, it was the squad was effectively Barcelona with one player from Espanyol, just to sort of maintain the fiction that it was the city of Barcelona.
There you go. Next time my Sunday league team tell me we're not allowed to play ringers, we'll refer to our Barcelona won a trophy with a ringer in the side. 70 years ago or so.
Yeah, they drew 2 each in the first leg with the London side at Stamford Bridge,
right?
And then I think back in Barcelona, we got beaten 6-0. I think it was. Yeah, 6-0.
Close game.
Just looking through the team. Well, there you go. It was mainly sort of Tottenham players. Danny Blatchford, Maurice Norman, Jimmy Greaves. Oh, he's Chelsea at the time. Bobby Smith, though. And did we have anyone in the second leg? Ken Brown made it in the second leg that we lost 6-0.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So, yeah, there you go. So,
there you go.
Excellent. Nice experiment.
Yeah, nice little bit of history.
Yeah.
Coming back to the pedigree of the teams in this competition, Braga, the Portuguese side, runners up in 2011, best they've ever done in the that was of course the UEFA Cup then, and West Ham United, the last team in the final 8, our best ever performance in the UEFA Cup or the Europa League. Well, of course it's this season, isn't it? Reaching the last 8 as we are. It was the Cup Winners' Cup, wasn't it, in 81?
Yeah.
Yeah,
when we quarter final there, and the final of that in 76.
Yeah.
And obviously 65.
Yeah.
We won it.
Yeah.
We reached the second round, didn't we, of UEFA following the Intertoto run. So that'd be about 99.
99. We beat Osijek, didn't we, in the first leg, and then was it Stoya?
It was Stoya, yeah.
Not just Stoya, but
yeah.
So yeah,
I remember Joe Cole getting kicked off the pitch virtually.
Yeah, we didn't handle that too well, did we? But of course, we had that wonderful Intertoto Cup final, of course, that year where we were beaten 1-0 at home by Metz. Should have been 2-0. I think Sahar missed an absolute sitter right at the end, and then we went to Metz and won 3-1. I think it was, wasn't it, in the second leg? Paolo Wanchop, of all people, rounding the goalkeeper. Something you've probably never ever seen him do before in his history. I remember watching him at the old North Bank, putting one over from about 3 yards out. That was more like Paolo Wanchop that we knew enough. But anyway, we digress. So let's come back to the draw today, gentlemen. And there's some really potentially good ties out there. That we've got the potential of an all-British tie. We've got the potential of another return to Spain. Couple of possible trips to Germany. Rio, if you had to pick one out of those 7, for whichever reason you like, whether you think it's the easiest fixture or the best trip, who would you like to see West Ham drawn against in the quarterfinals?
I'd prefer us to get Braga.
Okay.
2 reasons. It's a fantastic stadium, very unique. Be a great time, like for a few days away. And I do think they're the weakest other team left in the competition. I know it's a bit harsh to say, because getting this deep into this competition, you have to be a decent side. But out of those remaining, I think their style of play would suit us a bit more.
Okay. We played Braga, didn't we, in a friendly?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I've got a feeling we lost narrowly.
Yeah.
I have to refer to. Does that sound right? I have to refer to the record books. But yeah, Braga, of course, long lived in the shadows of their more illustrious neighbours, haven't they? Porto, Benfica, and sporting clubs like that. But they finished runners-up in Group F this year, and one of the few teams to succeed in the playoffs against the Champions League or ex-Champions League side, beat Sheriff on penalties to get through to the last 16, where they saw off Monaco, winning 3-1 on aggregate, winning the home leg 2-0 and drawing 1-1 in France last night, I believe. No,
we drew 1-1 when we played them.
Was it 1-1 we drew? Oh, okay. When was that, Rio? I'm thinking 5-6 years ago. Or was it a bit further?
Rather typically, it's not got a date on it. I know Winston Reid scored the equaliser.
I shall refer to KUMB's news archive while Gnome's telling me which team he'd like us to face in the final 8 and why.
I'm sort of torn apart here because the away leg in April is something that's hinted earlier on various personal reasons I'm unlikely to be able to go to. So in a way, I'd like to have Braga in the next round. Because it's as Rio said, apart from everything else, it's got everything. That tie, it would be the nice place to visit. Plus, footballing wise, it's gives us arguably the best chance of progress to the next stage in any case. So, I mean, so purely on footballing grounds, I'd like that. But if we could sort of do that one in the semi-final, it'd be nice. But other than that, I don't think I've got any real preference. I just, from a sort of, as I hinted last night when we did the walk home chat, I kind of like us to avoid Frankfurt. I think if at all possible.
Yeah.
Just because I don't want to see any sort of depressing recriminations for the stuff that they got away with last week.
Okay.
Because full well that if we do get drawn against them, people will be rubbing certain people will be rubbing their hands with glee and I just want to go to a football match and go and watch it and enjoy myself and come home. I don't want to have to skirt a million police to get in there and so.
Yeah, I totally agree also, because it'd be nice to take take the boy as well to another away game. We had a fantastic trip in Seville last week. And of course, if we do get joined in Frankfurt, there's no way that's going to happen. Braga, Rio, we've actually faced them twice, according to the KUMB archives. We played them on the, what was the first date? The 10th of August, 2012. We were over there and drew 1-1. Winston Reid scoring the last gasp equaliser, according to my report from 10 years ago, to earn us a share of the spoils. In our final match of pre-season, we went a goal behind to a first half penalty before Reid equalised, and then we played them the following year as well, also in Portugal, when the KUMB report states that West Ham's desperate lack of firepower was all too evident on a night when a second half effort from Rafa was enough to secure victory for Braga. So West Ham never having beaten Braga before, but two very, very close encounters in the past. I was going to ask you guys who you didn't, who you least wanted to face. Gnome's already answered that. Rio, how about yourself? Anyone you really want to avoid in the quarterfinals?
Rangers.
Okay.
Purely because we've often seen, and we still see it from time to time with this West Ham side, even now. We do drop to the level of opposition at times. Now against the bigger sides, we can play like a more expensive game. We can go at them. It's a bit more open. It suits us. We can get into a war of attrition with sides at times. And Rangers will feel that a Battle of Britain, their fans will be all over the place. I just don't think it'd be a pretty 180 minutes of football. I just think it'd be absolutely appalling to watch, an absolute battle. And I don't think we need that from a physical point of view at the moment. We always bang on about how thin our squad is, how tired we're looking. But a war of attrition over 2 legs with Rangers really wouldn't suit us at the moment.
I think it's a very good point you make, actually. I think that makes complete sense. But we shall see. We're going to find out very soon anyway, because the draw is going to be taking place shortly. Plenty of you joining us on the live stream today. Loads and loads of you obviously as eager as we are to find out who West Ham United are going to be facing in the quarterfinals and potentially the semi-finals. So let us know, who would you like to see West Ham join the last 8, and who would you like to see us avoid particularly? Let us know in the comments section, and we'll read a few of those out. Aaron has already posted to say that if we draw Frankfurt, it will be marred by controversy, agreeing with what the guys are saying here. So probably going to be quite a popular one to avoid that, given that for those of you that aren't aware, there was both West Ham and Frankfurt were playing in Sevilla last week. Frankfurt playing against Betis, West Ham playing against Sevilla, and there was a little bit of trouble, which was instigated, I think it's fair to say, by the German supporters. Some of you might say you would say that because you're West Ham fans, but I think that was the general consensus from the police and everybody who was out there. So possibly one to avoid for the reasons that Gnome has so rightly already stated. We are not too far away from the draw now. We're going to find out very soon who West Ham are going to be playing. As I said, let us know who you would like to see. Darren Smith, guessing he's a Rangers fan, says that you clearly don't watch Rangers if you think Rangers would kick you off the park. We need our players just as much as you need yours. Darren, I think what Gnome was saying there's not that Rangers are a dirty team, but and Rio, but because it would be a British match, that it's more likely to be a physical game rather than a flowing fluid match of skill. Rio, you can answer that. I don't need to speak for you.
Yeah, I've actually got a little bit of an affinity with Rangers. So much so that I got kidnapped on the way home from an England-Scotland game about 5 or 6 years ago. And ended up in a rather hefty drinking session with a group of Rangers fans, because when they asked which Scottish team that I kind of favour, and I started talking about Rangers, I said the words "we." And because I said the words "we" in terms of Rangers, 4 or 5 Rangers fans did kidnap me. I ended up in a hotel in Aldgate East, drinking to far too late in the morning. Yeah, so I've got nothing against Rangers as a club. It's just, I think, the British style of game isn't what either side needs at the moment. It's going to be too physical, too intense. It's just going to be full on, isn't it? And I don't think we need that, and I don't think Rangers need that either.
There you go, Darren. Hope that makes things abundantly clear for you.
So let me get this straight, Rio. You were kidnapped and plied with drink by Rangers supporters, and presumably then when somebody sort of turned up to pay the ransom, you sent them away.
I think eventually, the way out of it was when I said, like, guys, I've had a really cracking time. I am absolutely spanned. I need to get home. The wife's going to kill me. And I think by then they were so bloated as well because they'd been on the drink a lot longer than me. Because I hate to mention the cliche, but when Scottish fans come down to the Wembley or London for the weekend or the couple of days out, it ends up rather messy at times, doesn't it?
I've got some great stories about when they came down in 1971, and a friend of my dad's who worked for West Ham at the time had got us some tickets. And I just have memory of we driven up to his place in Chigwell, got the Central line in, changed at Liverpool Street, and we're on the platform, and it's full of Scots, all kilts and everything, and everyone's going, Scotland, Scotland. And there was a bit of a pause, and then you heard this click, and the guy on the tannoy started going, England, England, much to everybody's amusement. And I gave my seat up to a very drunk Scotsman on the tube on the way up there. I mean, it barely stand. And I think I was 10 years old, but I could sort out, I could spot that his need of a seat was somewhat greater than mine. And he pushed his hand into his sprawl, took out a wad of notes. There must have been about 40, 50 quid there, which he handed to me, and my dad made me give it back.
Outrageous.
But,
I've got to say, well, my first memories of the Scots coming down was that day in 1977. We was at a holiday camp in Cromer, I think. I don't know how I remember that, but we were watching the game. I was watching the game with my dad as a very small boy, and of course the Rascals ripped the goalposts up, didn't they? All sat on them, and they broke and made a terrible mess of Wembley. But anyway, Darren's replied to say, "Okay, mate, see your point. West Ham, Jers final. Then, well, I guess we'd probably take that, wouldn't we? Half of Glasgow and London out in Sevilla for the final. What could possibly go wrong? So we're getting very close to the
final. If that is the final in Seville, I can guarantee there's one thing that we're more likely to win, and that is there'll be more of them sunburnt than we are."
Yeah, fair point. Couple of questions being asked. I've just missed it now. Where has it gone? There was a question regarding, Craven Moorhead, one of our regulars. Good to see you, Craven, on the stream again this morning. Says, "Hi, chaps. Would you like Braga as an easier tie or Barca as the plum tie?" Gnome, do you want to address that one first?
I think we've got to be practical. I mean, I don't think Barca are any great shakes at the moment, to be fair. It's a marvellous stadium. I went there years ago. I haven't seen a game in there, but I went. It's one of stadiums you stand sort of down at the bottom of it, and you're looking up, and you think, "No, surely there isn't another tier above that one," but there is. I mean, Barcelona's a great city. Love the place, and it's certainly a great place to visit. And it would be a fantastic. It's a glamour tie because they're a name, aren't they? But I think my preference, I try and be as dispassionate as possible. They're just showing the odds at the moment, and Barcelona are 7-4 favourites. Leipzig 3-1, Atalanta 6-1, as we are 6-1. So the bookies are putting us kind of, I guess, top 2 or 3 favourites there, but Barcelona at the moment are favourite for that. I think that's been a bit tight. I think those odds should be longer for Barca, but
do you think that's just because of the name rather than the way they're playing?
Barca. Let Barca sort themselves out, and we'll play them whenever.
Okay. Just expanding on what Gnome's saying there. Barcelona favourites, Leipzig second favourites at 3-1, West Ham and Atalanta 6-1. Joint third favourites, Lyon 12-1, Eintracht Frankfurt 14s, and then Rangers and Braga. I didn't quite see what they were, but they were bringing up. Rio, Joe Cole's on the telly again. He's omnipresent of late. I mean, he seemed to enjoy himself last night with his namesake Carlton, didn't he? After the game,
I've still not seen any kind of real television footage from last night.
Right.
Joe's milking this little run for all he's worth, isn't he? He's making a little fortune here, topping up the pension pot. Fair play to him. Actually,
I've got to say, I think he's been speaking quite a lot of sense from what I've heard.
Yeah, Rio, the footage you need to check out is they had a camera on Carlton Cole and Joe Cole from the sort of TV, the little area where they're sitting. And when the goals go in, they're sort of running around the table and jumping up and down, and it's a joy to watch. Carlton Cole looked a bundle of nerves at one point. He couldn't stay still for more than 3 seconds. So, but it's worth a look. It is. It's kind of gratifying to see that. Joe Cole played for various teams up and down the place, and Carlton Cole, I suppose he had his longest spell with us, but he'd been about a little bit. And the fact that when we score, they're jumping up and down like the rest of us. It's kind of nice to see, gratifying. You see where their hearts lie.
There was a lovely moment on TalkSport a couple of weeks ago where there was a quiz question when Carlton Cole was a guest. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I can't remember who it was. But someone said who was the last Villa player to score in his first 2 games for the club, and Carlton. The answer was Carlton Cole. But Carlton Cole was completely blank, had no idea, and the rest of the studio were absolutely cracking up because he couldn't get the answer. But
he probably forgot he played for them.
Well, that's true. Fair point. But just coming back to a few of your comments on the live stream, good to see so many of you joining us this morning. The draw is coming up live very, very soon, only a few minutes away, 8 minutes or so away. We're just seeing on the BT stream a few highlights from the round of 16. Liverpool 6x UCL says, "Go get the damn trophy, lads. No fear mode. The Irons have bagged European trophies. People know you're serious about winning." Thanks, Liverpool. It's nice of you to say that. Very kind. Dan Robinson talking about who we'd like to see in the last 8. Dan says, "I'd love to see Atalanta. We could use the Betway Cup winners' motivation." Yes, of course they'll be seething about that one, won't they? Obviously want to get revenge.
They forgot they entered
it. Yes. Our friend from Liverpool also saying that Barca could barely get past Galatasaray. They were very soft, believe it. Andrew Simpson says Rangers pumped Braga home and away last season. And Sam Buster says, "Can we hope for a 3-0 first leg and get Rice's impending suspension out of the way in a safe-ish second leg?" That's an interesting point, because we saw Manuel Lanzini book last night, Rio, didn't we? Which means he's going to miss the first leg of the quarterfinals. Rice, as we understand it, is one booking away from a suspension. Do you think if we're in a comfortable position come the second leg, and I mean, I know we're sort of really looking ahead now and speculating, but do you think there might be some possibility that Rice might pick up a very dodgy booking at the end of the first leg to ensure he's fit for the semi-finals?
The way that Declan's been playing this season, he's a lot more wholehearted. He's a lot more involved in the action further up the pitch, so there's more scope for him to react to things.
Yeah.
More scope for him to make lung-busting runs back to defend last-ditch tackles.
Uh-huh.
And, I hate to, again, throw up another cliche. The standard of continental refereeing isn't any better than what we have over here, is it? It's probably even slightly worse, which is an absolute sight to behold. So, but Declan's our fulcrum, the key to everything we do. I really can't see a time where we'll be able to afford to drop him. So it's just, I think, Beck managing his game in a more kind of rational manner, if possible. But the foibles of referees around the world, it leaves us open to kind of losing our key player for at least a game.
Johnny Weinberg says, "Come on, the Jers. Would love to see a Rangers versus West Ham final, and Sam Nunn saying Leon would be nice." No. We briefly mentioned it last night, didn't we, on the post-match stream? We've got to talk about it tonight. Rio's touched upon it there. The standard of the refereeing. Now, Mr. Turpin last night, quite frankly, was a little short of a disgrace, I felt. And it's just the fact that we went through that his performance has been glossed over. There was a point at one stage, I think it was half-time actually, where he'd given 13 free kicks, 12 in favour of Sevilla and 1 in favour of us. What did you make of that last night?
Oh, it was appalling. It was... the first sort of 10 minutes, he gave nothing to anybody. Then second 20 minutes, or the next period, he was giving everything to Sevilla. That free kick they got just outside the box. Now, I haven't seen a replay of it.
Was that the Rice tackle?
The Rice thing, yeah. Where,
didn't touch him.
Yeah,
well, I mean,
he
thrust his back with his hand. He didn't pull him or anything.
Yeah, it looked like Rice was so far away from him.
Yeah.
And he couldn't wait to sort of give the free kick, and it was it was the bit at the end where Cresswell went down with cramp, and they did the usual foot pumping thing, and he got himself up, jogged over to take the throw, picked the ball up, and was looking for somebody to throw it.
Yeah.
Now, okay, admittedly he wasn't hurrying, but it's still, he barely just picked the ball up, and then the referee booked him. You know,
Yeah.
it was like, I mean, if you're going to be consistent, you'd have booked 4 severe players in the first half for that. I mean,
yeah,
the keeper was taking his time. I looked at one point, the ball had got back to him, and he was just holding on to it, pretending to throw it and stopping, pretending to throw it. And that was only about 1 minute and 10 seconds on the clock.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, well, I mean, Mr. Turpin, I think it's fair to say, was a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
I'm here all week.
I was actually opining on social media for calling for the return of Mike Dean, how it would have been less of an issue, which I guess goes some way to showing how bad it was last night, at least in my opinion.
Well, yeah. Dean just throws in random decisions to sort of get the focus on him.
Yeah.
He's been getting fewer and fewer games this season, and makes me think this might be his last season. In which case, there's a bottle of bubbly in my fridge that I'm going to crack open the second I hear of his retirement.
Yeah, hopefully he can take John Moss with him, or quite frankly, he can take them all with him because they've all
take
been
them all, yeah.
But anyway, Rio, one thing that struck me last night while watching that game was that Gnome has made a reference there to the dark arts employed by Sevilla from pretty much the first minute, rolling around, you know, claiming fouls that never were, asking for players to be booked, which is pretty appalling. I've got to say, I was really disappointed with West Ham's attempts at playing the dark arts in the final few minutes. I thought we were appalling at it. We clearly need to do some homework in that regard. I mean, right at the end there was that moment. I don't know if you remember, but the ball was played right into the corner on the left hand side, and Yarmolenko goes towards the ball. He's going to get it first, and you're sitting there thinking, Yarmo, just stick it into Rose Ed, just boot, and he just kicks it off gently so they could retrieve it and carry on. I mean, did you get the feeling that when you know that's not really our forte, playing the shithousery, if I may refer to it thusly?
Yeah, absolutely. We're incredibly naive at this level still, and it made me laugh because in the opposition view from Sunday, Aston Villa supporters accusing us of being one of the dirtiest sides in the league. We may be a little bit on the physical side, but I think actually one of the softest, and we certainly don't. Resort to the tactics that Villa did, Brentford did. We see week in, week out. Dark arts are not our speciality at all. You know, we always have this high and mighty kind of attitude where you wouldn't want to see that with West Ham. But there are times where you need to do it. And if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, well, we shall hopefully...
I wouldn't like to see a clump of Villa depths, though. I mean, Villa might have a point if every time a Villa player gone down, they'd actually been clattered or hit by a West Ham player. But, you know, for every 5 or 6 times a Villa player went down, there's probably no contact for any of those. You know, it was just a deliberate attempt to break up the play. And as I say, they're very much a team in the image of their manager who played like that all the way through his career.
Going down, clutching your head when you're doing your job of defending and the ball's hit your leg, you know. No, I don't want us to resort to that, obviously, but some of the more kind of subtle things, we really need to sharpen up a little bit.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see if we can get that message through to David Moyes and the boys before long. But we're still waiting for the draw. It's now 12:30. We expected it to have begun by now, but we're still watching Joe.
Come on, how naive. It's UEFA.
Yes, this is true. This is true.
You don't expect UEFA to do a simple thing like a draw by just sort of staying right. I want to go back to the days. Even the FA now have to have some sort of show busy glitz to it.
Yeah.
But you know, the old days when you'd sit huddled around a radio and it would be Radio 2 back then, and it was live from Lancaster Gate. And it was always item 3 on the agenda. God knows what items 1 and 2 that were more important than the FA Cup draw. But, and
what sandwiches are for lunch? You know?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
How
brand of
not to
port
give
they're
Brian
gonna
Clough
have.
the England job or something like that.
Yeah.
We're about to go. We are seeing scenes from the UEFA headquarters now. There's a bunch of dignitaries unmasked, interestingly, in the audience watching the announcer, who I've no idea who is talking about the draw. We're seeing the bowls now, the three bowls. Not sure why we got three, but we'll find out soon enough. And hopefully the blurb won't go on for too long. And so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to find out who West Ham United will face in the quarterfinals and potentially the semi-finals of the Europa League this year, with both draws taking place today, unusually. Hopefully, they won't balls this one up like they did the Champions League draw recently, where they had to do it all over again. But we shall see. Couple more comments while we're waiting. Lee
Man
Warwick
United
says,
will have another go at that one, don't they? Now,
yes, that might be their only chance. Lee Warwick says, going back to what we were saying about the weekend, Villa were ridiculous. Yeah, they certainly were. Some shocking performances by them. And interestingly, a couple of you touching on the fact that, or asking if there is potential for yellow cards to be not rescinded, but cleared after a certain phase. I know, obviously, in the World Cup finals, it was at the quarterfinal stage there. Reset, aren't they? So I've got to say, I don't know. Not very good. I haven't done my research on that. I apologise, but I just don't know. So if anyone does know the answer to that, Gnome and Rio, I don't know if you guys can get some clarification on that for us. Perhaps we can confirm what the situation is. Andrew Simpson says, I'm a Jers fan. Watched Hammers last night. Rangers wouldn't have any fears of West Ham. Well, there you go. Confident voice from north of the border. We might find out, Andrew, very soon if the draw pits us against each other. Once did Hammer saying in the FA Cup 2006, the Dark Arts would have won it for us. Oh, once did Hammer. Let's not go back to that one. Those final few seconds, of course, our friend Stephen Gerrard, the current Aston Villa manager, involved heavily in that at the time, stealing the ball when West Ham looked to play it back, and cheating. Terrible stuff. But anyway, Craven Moorhead saying the FA and the Premier League don't want us in the top four, and UEFA don't want us to win this tournament. Okay, well we'll see. We're certainly doing all right so far. I just hope we can keep it up. Ollie B 1304 says, if we can just rest Rice in the second leg, never mind having pick up a cheeky yellow card in the first leg. We'll have the yellows cleared after the quarterfinals anyway. No, so we are trying to find out. Ollie, Nomi's looking that up right now. Good luck going through those UEFA rules and regulations, pages and pages and pages on their website. But we'll let you know for sure very soon. And Del C says, "Come on, the Rangers, we fear no foe." So quite a lot of you Rangers fans joining us live on the stream. So that's good. That's fine. We're a broad church here at KUMB. We welcome the voices of many fans. If you want to, after you've enjoyed the stream, go onto the KUMB.com forum and lend your thoughts on there, if you like. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, probably wisest not to mention churches when it's Rangers.
Well, yes.
I'm not secular.
I'm not going there. I'm not going to go there.
Right.
As someone who's always favoured the Celtic team from Glasgow.
Look what they've got there. They've got a three bowls. They've got quarterfinal, semi-final, and a ball for the final.
Yes.
Now, are you telling me UEFA need to have a draw for the final?
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Honestly, inebriated drinks party in a brewery, UEFA.
Right. Well, look, we're about to find out. It looks like the draw is about to be made. There's another UEFA executive waffling on now about God knows what. We haven't got the volume up here. But there's some very interesting looking gentlemen, all dressed immaculately and in the same clothes. It's almost like a Politburo meeting, given that they all look exactly the same. Not quite sure what's going on, but very small auditorium. Doesn't look like any of the managers are present for that one. David Moyes, of course, on the training ground this morning at Rush Green, was asked last night if he was going to be giving the players the day off after last night's heroics. And he said, no, they're going to be straight back in for training. Of course, big game coming up Sunday, Rio. Let's touch on that very briefly while we're just waiting for the draw to start. Are we going to be fit and ready to play Tottenham?
I've really got my doubts. A lot of our players look absolutely, dishevelled at the end of last night. Cramp was popping up on a regular basis. I just think it's a step too far. Tottenham are Tottenham. You never know what you're going to get with them. But I just think they've had a lot more time to recover. We've had an extra half hour of really kind of intense football last night, which we didn't need. I just think at the moment it's a step too far.
No, are you fearing for Sunday?
A little bit, although I'd fear a lot more if we'd gone through the match in extra time and not gone through. There'll still be a bit of adrenaline in there, which will maybe not totally, but might counter the effects of tiredness. We were talking about the cramp, but I think I only saw Cresswell of our players go down with cramp. Now you may have seen others, but they were going down like 10 pins, Whereas I remarked to the guy behind it, I said, it's noticeable that like 3 or 4 of them have gone down with cramp so far, and we haven't. And then, of course, promptly Cresswell went and made a liar out of me and went down. But
well, I mean, of course, that was all quite extraordinary anyway, seeing as they made about 400 substitutions during the game. It seemed like every 5 minutes they were bringing on a new player, and yeah, you're absolutely right. Anyway, I mean, I think David Moyes made the point during his press conference last night, or it was during an interview very early on this morning, when he said that we've got 5 or 6 players who can barely walk today. I know Declan Rice said that his foot was in agony last night following the game, and he needed to rest it. So, be interesting to see what sort of team. I mean, to beat. I mean, wouldn't that be a week of to be rivaled, to beat Villa and Tottenham in the Premier League and knock Sevilla out of the Europa League, Rio? That would take some beating, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be a fantastic week, wouldn't it? Nothing surprised me about this side. It's that in days of past, we would have gone, no, it's a write-off. We ain't going to be able to do it. But nothing surprised me about the team that David Moyes has built. It's not, we're beyond the realms of possibility we're going to do it Sunday. But it just looks unlikely, doesn't it? And, 2 of our key players coming back from injury last minute to play 2 hours plus of football. You just think things are going to take their toll eventually. I just hope it isn't Sunday.
Of course, it is still another huge game in what's becoming I mean, we talk about every game being a cup final from now on, don't we? And it really, that is the case if we're going to qualify for Europe again next season, and not via winning the Europa League, which of course is still a distinct possibility. But anyway, I shall cease speaking there, because the draw, I'm fairly sure, is about to begin. It looks like this gentleman here is about to put his hand in a bucket of balls. If you excuse the reference, and it looks like we're about to get underway. 8 teams in the it's not the hat, is it? It's in the bowl. It doesn't really sound as good, does it, to say that 8 teams in the bowl? But just to go through it again, the teams in order of UEFA ranking: Barcelona ranked 7th in Europe currently, Leipzig 18th, Lyon of France ranked 19, Atalanta of Italy Serie A ranked 25th, Eintracht Frankfurt of Germany, Bundesliga, ranked 32nd in Europe this year, Rangers of Scotland 38th ranked by UEFA, Braga of Portugal ranked 39, and of course the lowest ranked team left in the competition, West Ham United, ranked 75th. Here we go. We're about to draw. Noam, do you want to bring us the first team?
Yeah, and it looks like Leipzig. Fizzy drinks Leipzig.
Okay. Red Bull Leipzig. Now, presumably the team drawn first is going to be the team that plays at home in the first leg. It's
a straight draw, yeah.
Yeah.
There are no seedings or keeping people apart, so even UEFA shouldn't be able to cock this up.
So Red Bull Leipzig, the first team out, quarterfinalists in 2018, having flirted with the Champions League in recent seasons, through to the last stage with a bye, actually. They were supposed to play Spartak Moscow, but
I'm guessing they've got Atalanta. That looks like an 8. Yeah, Atalanta.
Okay, Leipzig versus Atalanta. Now, Rio, that's good for us, isn't it? Two of the stronger teams, you would say, left in the competition. That's Leipzig ranked 18th and Atalanta ranked 25th. So 2 of the 4 highest ranked teams already out.
Yeah, very much so. And 2 teams who like to play with a bit of attacking verve and flair, a bit of high intensity. So probably done us a favour there.
Okay.
Oh, come on, get on with it. They've drawn that out. They've drawn the 2 teams out, and they seem to need a rest in between each one. Oh, we're back on again.
All right. Okay. So
there
just
to
reiterate, Leipzig versus Atalanta next up.
Eintracht Frankfurt.
Oh, okay. So Eintracht at home in the first leg. Against who? Could this be a repeat of the 1976 Cup Winners' Cup semi-final? Eintracht Frankfurt, of course, were at home to West Ham in that as well. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Frankfurt ranked 32nd in Europe, fifth highest ranked team left in the competition. Winners, the only previous winners left in the competition, won it in 1980. They will face Gnome. No, they won't face Gnome, of course, but Barcelona.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Well, that's 3 of the top 4 ranked teams out of the bowl already. This is better for West Ham in terms of looking for the team we want. We're left. Who are we left with now? So Barcelona out, Leipzig out, Lyon, the highest ranked team left to go. West Ham, Rangers, and Braga. We will be playing one of those 3 teams in the quarterfinals. Who's it going to be? No.
Right. The next cab off the rank is
drum roll.
West Ham United. So we'll be at home in the first leg. Not ideal, but
so who's it going to be? Braga, Rangers, or Lyon? Not ideal, as you say. Would have been good to have been at home in the second leg, but we'll take it anyway. Last 8. Who's it going to be? No.
Oh, they've got to have a rest in between that. I mean, West Ham United. It's 3 words they've got to read out. Okay,
I've got a feeling we're going to draw Lyon here.
Let's have a look.
Based on nothing whatsoever.
You're right, Olympique Lyonnais, to give them their full title.
Okay. I mean, not quite the title. Lyon, 3rd highest ranked team left in the competition, semi-finalist in 2017. Well, actually, I've got to say they were my dark horse for the last 8 that left. Through to the last 8 by virtue of beating a very strong Porto side. Won 1-0 in Portugal in the first leg. Drew in France 1-1 in the second leg. Struggling domestically, only 10th in League at the moment, but a force to be reckoned with in Europe. So there it is. Of course, the last tie. Let's see who's going to be drawn at home.
Yeah, Braga have got the home first leg against Rangers.
All right. So there it is. That is the last 8 of the Europa League.
It wouldn't surprise me if, being UEFA, this little ball was empty. No, there is something in there.
Well, there it is. The last 8 draw is as follows. Red Bull Leipzig will host Atalanta in the first leg on the 7th of April before travelling to Italy on the 14th of April for the return leg. Eintracht Frankfurt versus Barcelona. Some might say that's the glamour tie of the round. We certainly wouldn't. We'd say the third one is. West Ham United have drawn Lyon of France, 10th in Ligue 1 at the moment. But flying in the Europa League. And finally, Braga versus Rangers. I would have taken either of those 2 out of the 3, but there you go. That's how it pans out. Are we going to get before we come to you guys for some reaction, I'm just waiting to see if we're going to get the semi-final draw straight away. But yeah, let's see.
But I think they're going to do it somehow, and we'll just see how they're going to do it. As I say, quite why they've got a pot for the final. I'm intrigued to see what they're going to do with that one.
Yes.
Oh, and the final will be played by the winners of the 2 semi-finals. Shock.
I wish they'd stop tinkering with these formats,
Right. So
here we go.
Right. So winners of quarterfinal 1.
So that's.
Will be at home in the first leg of the semi-final against ...
Please be 2. Please be 2. Come on. That's Leipzig or Atalanta, by the way, in case anyone's wondering.
The winner of quarterfinal 4.
Well, you know what that means, gentlemen. Leipzig versus Atalanta. Leipzig or Atalanta versus Braga or Rangers in the semi-final. And you know what that means. We've been there before. Could be a repeat of 1976. If not, could be a wonderful occasion for West Ham. That means the other semi-final will be Eintracht Frankfurt or Barcelona versus West Ham United or Lyon. Rio, it looks like we're
quarterfinal 3, which is us. So if we get through again, we'll be at home in the first leg. So
home in the first leg.
Yeah, we're not being given an easy run through this.
No, so that's West Ham at home in the quarterfinals, first leg against Lyon. And if we proceed to the last 4, we will be at home in the last 4 in the first round against either Eintracht Frankfurt who we beat in the 1976 Cup Winners' Cup semi-finals, of course. Oh, Barcelona, a trip to the new camp, or the Camp Nou, whichever way you look at it in the second leg. Rio, you're smiling. What's your thoughts?
I'll tell you, Leon is a really good draw, not in terms of being easy, but just in terms of pedigree, the size of the club we're up against. We're deep into European competition. It's been a long time coming. We've beaten possibly, I think, the strongest side last night. Leon are going to be really stern opposition. If we can get through that, put the prospect of Barca or Eintracht, this is what supporting West Ham and getting into Europe's all about, isn't it? It's just, I think it's going to be another cracking night. I'm gutted we're at home in the first leg, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a bit of a disappointment, isn't it? That we haven't got home advantage in the second leg. But no, it's a trip to Lyon on the 14th of April for the Hammers. Lyon, of course, down in the sort of middle of France, isn't it? Really, sort of towards the southeast, and not too far from the French border. Geneva just up the road, which might be a possibility for flights. Yeah. But what's your instant reaction to those two draws? Barcelona maybe in the semis.
Three draws. We've just had the draw for the final, which literally they pulled out the balls, and it will be the winner of semi-final 2 against the winner of semi-final 1. Genuinely,
absolutely pointless.
I think there may have been some minor point about the team drawn out first gets sort of home privileges for the final. You get to pick your home kit or whatever, I suppose. But
yeah,
I mean, really, I'm not looking at a semi-final at all. Let's just. I've said this all season long in the league and everything. Each day it comes. There were certainly worse draws for us to have in that thing, and what is it? You said 10th in the
10th, yeah, 10th in Liga at the moment. They're only they've won 11 games out of 28 in the league so far. 11 wins, 9 draws, 8 defeats, 40 goals for, 37 against, 41 points, a goal difference of only +3, and that's obviously to be fair, it's quite tight at the top. They are only 9 points off Marseille. Dimitri Payet's Marseille are currently second in the table, so it is very tight in that in that league at the moment. But no, you've got PSG, who presumably I haven't looked at French league, but 15 points clear.
How many?
15 points clear. It's PSG, Marseille, Nice,
they're not even trying, are they?
No, and then you've got teams like Lyon, Monaco, Lens, and then Lyon in 12th. In 10th. So domestically they're not having a great season.
Yeah, I'd have rather had the second leg at home, but
that's a bummer, isn't it? That one.
But what we do is we have another night like last night, and get as much of the job as possible done in Stratford, and. Last night, and pretty much throughout all the group stage. I mean, we'll ignore that last game where we stuck out the kids because we were through already. But we've looked like a team that's been playing in Europe every year for years.
Yeah.
The way we played that game over the 90 to 120 minutes, if you will. So I'm confident. I'm confident we can do it Olympic Lyon. Yeah, no worries. No worries.
No worries at all.
Yeah, but if we were talking about one of their other clubs, I'd be a little bit more concerned at not having the second leg at home. But no, I think that's eminently winnable. I'd be more positive about winning that than I would have been when the draw came out that we were going to play Sevilla.
Yeah,
so
yes,
we should fear nobody, and Olympic Lyon, if we are going to, if not fear, may have a little bit of trepidation about some side or other. Olympic Lyon certainly aren't one of the ones I would have that about.
No, okay, good stuff. Right, well, let's end as we normally do by trying to predict who is going to make the semi-finals based on what we've seen. Rio, I'll come to you first on this one. The first tie drawn out of the pot was German side Red or RB Leipzig, or just Leipzig as they often refer to these days, against Atalanta, who've had a really good time in Europe and Serie A in the last few years. I can't pick a winner from this one. What do you think?
Yeah, this is the toughest one out of the lot, I think. I'll probably edge towards Atalanta, basically because they've got a little bit more European pedigree over the last couple of years. Was it the semi-finals they made last year, or
semis or quarters, wasn't it? Yeah, in the last couple of years, yeah.
And they've got a wealth of talent at their disposal. So I'm just going to go for Atalanta.
Okay, Atalanta for Rio. Gnome, how do you see that one going?
I think I'm edging towards Leipzig for that one. I've got no real reason why. I just had a feeling about them. Okay, pre-season friendly, we played against Atalanta, but it wasn't all that, was it? But I don't know. I just think Leipzig might just have the edge on that one. But
okay,
no real gut feeling, really. So.
All right, that gives me the casting vote then. So it's really difficult to pick a winner. I think I'm going to go with Rio. I think Atalanta might just give it. Saying that, Leipzig have also got really good pedigree, haven't they, recently in Europe? So I'm going to go for Atalanta just about, I think. So we'll go for a 2-1 split decision in favour of the Italians on that one. Next up, this is a really interesting tie as well. Eintracht Frankfurt against Barcelona, Rio.
Yeah, Barca not having the greatest time, are they, this year? But you still can't rule them out, can you? Eintracht, not the most spectacularly exciting of the German sides. Again, very flaky. Got some good players, but I'm going to slightly favour Barca here. I think the home leg about being away in the first leg would be a big thing for them as well.
Okay, Barca is for Rio on that one. No, how do you see this one going?
Yeah, ignoring all the other shenanigans we were talking about, and nice though it would be to see us having a repeat of the 76 semi-final, which I think last night it just fall short of that one for me, for games I've attended anyway. But I think Barcelona will just have a little bit more. So I think I'll go for Barca on that one.
Barcelona, of course, tournament favourites according to the bookies before the draw was made. Eintracht Frankfurt were, not sure where they were. 14-1. Eintracht Frankfurt, so they were actually below us. The bookies definitely fancy Barcelona. Rio and Gnome fancy Barcelona. I've got to say, gentlemen, I'm with you all the way on that one. So we're going for a clean sweep in favour of Barca on that one. We'll skip our tie just for a minute. We'll come to that right at the end. Braga v Rangers. I would have loved to have played either of these. Bit disappointed that, given they were two of the last three left in the pots, and he said the hat, we didn't pull either of them out. But a really enticing time. One of those sides is going to be in the semi-finals, which what a run that's been for, or will be for them. Rio, Braga or Rangers?
I think this is going to be a very, very close tie, but I think Rangers will just edge it over the two legs. All four of these ties are really evenly matched. This is the weakest one out of the four for me. But yeah, I think Rangers will just edge it. Okay.
Rangers for Rio. Gnome, how do you see that one going?
Yeah, I think I agree with Rio. Again, lovely ground, Braga, and April, it'll still be fairly warm. Yeah, get the factor 97 out, Rangers guys, if you're watching. But yeah, I think Rangers will have a little bit more in terms of the sort of physicality. I think I've steamrolled them a little bit, that doesn't mean, again, I think you're going to kick them off the park, Rangers guys. Don't get upset. I just mean I think you'll be stronger than them physically, and I think Rangers will get through there.
Okay. Once again, I'm going to disagree. Not that it matters for the outcome, but I think Braga might just be a little bit strong given the quality of their domestic competition, which is generally of a slightly higher standard, I think, than the Scottish League. Again, with apologies to our Scottish viewers right now, but I think Braga might just come through in that one. But anyway, it's a 2-1 vote in favour of Rangers, which means well, it doesn't mean anything yet because we haven't done the last one. West Ham United versus Lyon. I mean, I'm sure we don't really need to say we're going to go for it, but we'll do it anyway, just for giggles and things. Rio, who's going to progress?
If this was a normal season, I'd say us straight off the bat. I'm just worried about all these games taking their toll. I know we've got an international break coming up next week, but we're so good now. Our players get called up for international duty, so there's no real rest for a lot of them. Although Lyon ain't in the best of form, it's going to be tough. I'm going to stick my neck out. We're going to do this. I'm a bit wary of being at home in the first leg, but that's the only thing that and the fatigue levels are the things that I'm wary about. Lyon have got a couple of really good players and all, like the much vaunted Moussa Dembele, who we would link with numerous times. They've got a couple of boo boys in their side as well. So it gives our fans someone to kind of really get behind and get on top of. Emerson's on loan from Chelsea, and I think isn't Tanguy Ndombele there on loan from Tottenham? So
I'm looking at the list now. Yes, he is. Yes, he is number 28. Yeah.
Let's target them for a bit of abuse, lads. Yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to do it.
West Ham for Rio. Good stuff. No.
Yeah, same for me. It's not a strong league, and okay, you're saying they're only 9 points behind, but they're only 9 points behind second place. It's only a word that's doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence. I think that I think we'll have too much for them. I think we'll hopefully we'll get a lot of the job done in the first leg, and the way we've been playing in Europe, I can quite see us putting the game to bed in the second fairly early on as well. So yeah, we'll go through in that. Okay. I'd just like to point out, I said we go through against Sevilla even after the first leg as well.
You did actually. There you go. So, of course, I'm going to go for West Ham. So it's a clean sweep for the Hammers. Now, if gentlemen, we are right, that would leave the semi-final lineup as follows. It would be Leipzig versus Rangers, West Ham United versus Barcelona. All tied up for a West Ham Rangers final. How about that?
Let's say Leipzig final.
Well, been an interesting show, gentlemen. What I can tell you finally, before we do call it a day on the stream, it's exactly 9 hours and 48 minutes by car to Lyon. If you don't fancy taking a plane, a total of 576 miles via the Channel. You can drive it.
Are we Chelsea?
Yeah,
we can make our own. We can get a plane. We've got no worries about that.
Well, I was thinking more about one or two of our own. I mean, Nick, of course, DL is notoriously not good with flying, so he could potentially jump in a camper van and within a day he'd be down in the southeast of France, ready and to go for the tie. So there are options anyway for those of you who want to go. It's the good news is, I think,
perhaps.
Guys,
yes.
It's like none of you two have ever seen the A-Team. All we do is give Nick a bit of milk with a bit of sedative in it. Do
you remember when you mocked up that photograph of me as B.A. Baracus because somebody referred to me as Mr. T?
Those were the days. Those were the days. So there you go. 570 miles from London to Lyon. You can drive it if you want. We'll let you know ticket details when we get those. West Ham at home in the first leg on the 7th of April, 14th of April, the return leg to see whether the Hammers can make it through to the semi-finals and a potential meeting with either Eintracht Frankfurt. It's funny that, isn't it? I mean, I put out a tweet last night with a picture of I think it was Patsy Holland and Trevor Brookings celebrating after that game next to a picture of Declan Rice and Mark Noble. But 46 years ago, long time ago, could we be meeting them again in the semi-finals? Or, of course, it might be Barcelona. But big tie to get through first. We've got to get through against Lyon, who, as we said, not doing particularly well domestically this season. Did they win their group? I think they did, didn't they? They're one of the few teams left that actually battled through the group stage of the Europa League. But yes, I think they won group. Yeah, they did. They won Group A. I'm not sure who they come up against.
Who was in the group with them?
Yeah, so I can tell you. Give me a second.
Oh, okay.
I can tell you who they faced. I think I've got a feeling Frankfurt, one of them. Not sure. Rangers were in the group. Sparta Prague and Brøndby, Danish side. Lyon won 5 and drew 1 of their 6 games, scoring 16 and conceding 5, beating Rangers and drawing with them. So, they're a force to be reckoned with. They've been doing very, very well in Europe this season, and that promises to be a huge tie. Rio, final word before we wrap up this morning's or this afternoon's, as it is now, session.
We're all high on the crest of a wave after last night. We've got a mouth-watering tie coming up. Should we get through that? There's bigger fish to fry in the semis, possibly. We're in Europe. We're massive. Let's do this.
No? Final word?
Bring it on. That's all I've got to say.
Excellent. Well, that's it for us today. My thanks to my fellow presenters, Rio and Gnome, for joining me on this very special early. Look at the state of us. Look, none of us have had any sleep. Look, we're all going to go to bed now and try and catch up on last night, all the celebrations. Early stream. West Ham United. Just very quickly, once again, the last 8: Leipzig versus Atalanta, Eintracht Frankfurt versus Barcelona, Braga versus Rangers, and West Ham United versus Lyon of France for a place in the last 4 of the Europa League. Zut alors! We're on our way to France.
Bonnet de douche.